Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. Today's Wednesday. Yesterday was the 4th. Had an awesome day with the family. Grilled, played card games because it rained again. But that's always fun. And didn't do any work, which is great. No work, no videos, no nothing. Not that this is work, but you know what I mean. So today I'm back working, or was working until the end of the day. I wanted to talk a little bit about comps because I had an interesting experience with a seller. And I'm not going to out the seller. I'm not going to give any details that could out this seller because they are a very reputable seller, an individual reputable seller in Facebook groups. And so I have been wanting to buy a 1950s Jackie Robinson in low grade. And haven't really been paying much attention because I thought I'm just going to wait until I get to the National and buy one there. But I saw one on eBay, or sorry, not on eBay, on Facebook by a reputable seller. And that seller, it was low grade, very well centered, which is exactly what I wanted. Jackie from the 1950s. And I know what this card goes for generally, and it's in the low to mid $300. And this person was asking above $400. And so I private messaged him and said, hey, I'm wondering how much wiggle room there is on there. And he sent me comps. And I had actually already looked up the comps for this on eBay, and I knew what they were. Now, I don't like to cite comps with sellers because sellers really don't like that. But he brought the comps into the conversation. And the comps that he sent me were the same exact three that I had found on eBay, but one of them showed a price of almost $500. And I was like, this is weird. Mine shows that was only about $370, $360 or something like that. So I went and I looked, and sure enough, mine still says $360 some odd dollars. And I went back and looked at his, and it's 490 something CAD, which is Canadian dollars. And so he even pointed to it. He said, look, there's this one big one that affects the average. And I pointed it out to him that's Canadian dollars, which converts to mid 300s, which brings the value, his asking, way down. I mean, his outlier, which we'll talk about outliers here in a minute, but the average that he's using is mixing currencies. So you wouldn't take two US dollar transactions and then add in a Canadian dollar transaction and not convert that third one from Canadian dollars to US dollars. Doesn't make any sense. And so I pointed that out to him, and he disagreed with me. Which I don't understand his argument, but then he said, it doesn't matter because I'm offering this goods and services and I have to pay the fees, and it's fully shipped. And I said, well, those ones on eBay are also inclusive of shipping, and they're paying 13+% on that, where you're only paying 3% goods and services on PayPal. I don't really know. Let me know in comments if I'm way off there. And he said, true, but I'm also driving 15 hours every weekend to buy these cards, and I need to recoup my money. And so at this point, I just said, okay, I understand, thanks anyway. And we went our separate ways. He ended up selling it. Good for him. But I'm wondering if he actually used that screenshot to trick somebody else into thinking that there was a high $400, almost $500 sale included in the recent comps. Because that's very misleading. And I pointed it out to him, and he didn't seem fazed by the fact that he's using a false comp at all. And first of all, I don't know, what is he using, like 130 point, and they don't convert those? That's a problem to me, that they're just showing, we've got this one $300 sale and a $310 sale and this $480 sale, and nobody's ever said, well, can you convert this to, maybe that's part of the app and he just chooses not to use it or doesn't know. I don't know. I don't use 130 point very much, and I only use the web version usually So is there an app that does this stuff for you? Let me know in comments what might be happening here. But then let's talk about outliers. If you have, and there are only 3 recent sales of this card in this grade, and one of them is $500 and 2 of them are $300. And they're all within the last week or so, last month. And the player, Jackie Robinson, hasn't done anything and the market hasn't done anything to earn a 67% price increase. Then how much do you factor in that third comp? Do you take the average of the 3? Do you throw it out altogether? I don't know what the answer is. I don't think you throw out outliers altogether in this case, but you certainly factor it lower, especially when you look at last year's sales of this card, which were all in the 300s range, pretending that this wasn't Canadian dollars. I want to go back and ask him, how much did you sell it for? And did you use the comp? But I don't want to start a battle with this guy. He seems like a super nice guy. He's working hard, very reputable. I don't know. When you're selling, do you expect to have people say, oh, you drove 15 hours around to pick this card up, 15 hours round trip? Sure, I'll pay you more than the comps. Doesn't that seem a little strange? I understand you might want to get more for it, but do you cite that as part of the sale price? I understand that comps are $325, but because I drove 15 hours round trip to buy cards, I expect to get $400. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think about comps? Let me know in comments. I think comps are very, very valuable if they're used right, and if you understand what you're looking at. And I'm not convinced that this guy did. And I don't think he was arguing in bad faith. I don't think he was intentionally sending me a bad comp and using it in bad faith. I think that it was just a mistake, and when called on it, he tried to use something else to justify the higher price. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm not using any photos in this one just because it's more of a thought exercise, I guess, and I really don't want to out this person. If you have a low-grade Jackie you'd like to sell me, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.